Alright, so this is part 2 of What If Female Deku Was Sirenhead. So, we'll pick up where we last left off, with Izumi headed back to the orphanage. And once she gets back, nobody bothers to greet her. Because the carers don't really care for children with villainous quirks, or quirks that make them look like monsters. And Izumi would be walking down the hall as she would reach the end of it and open the door to an isolated little room. Now, when I say little, this is little. Like, this is I'd say a 12 by 4 room that's just big enough to fit a bed. As Izumi would then begin to crawl into this bed, as she would then begin to start weeping, as she would basically cry herself to sleep that night. As we'll cut forward a couple years now. So Izumi is currently, her height is about 6 foot. I'll say 6'6". Yeah, she's 6'6". As she would walk out. Now, in the last couple of years, the orphanage have gone more children with quite villainous quirks, and people would pick on them. But Izumi would protect them. She's sort of like a big sister to the rest of them. As Izumi as the younger kids with the more monstrous quirks. Now I'm going to be introducing a few more of Trevor Henderson's creatures into this. So yes, there will be a kid with a quirk that's similar to cartoon cats, and a kid with a quirk whose abilities are similar to long horses, and the others let me think of another Trevor Henderson creature, and a quirk that's similar to bridgeworms. With them as soon as Izumi walks in, they would say, Big sister Izumi, you're here." As she'd say hello to them, as she would basically sit down and eat with them. As Izumi is currently 17 years old right now, so she's just about to turn 18, and she's just about to head to UA next year. And she is still great friends. She is actually pretty great friends with you right now. As she would finish what she was eating with the rest of them, as you would say that she's off, as she heads out, as the other children would say bye to her, as she leaves. With her, now she is still quite self-conscious about these sirens on top of her head, so she still keeps them covered with a hoodie. As she would make her way to the place where she works, and it is like a ranger station, with the rangers. Some of the rangers greeting her, but the others looking at her with disgust, as the head of the ranger station would say that they've been waiting for her to get here all morning, as Izumi would say that she's sorry she's late. It's just that she was just filling out an application form for UA. As the ranger captain would say, UA, so you're wanting to go and be one of those hero types. As he would put his hand on, well, she is currently like kneeling down to meet his gaze. As he puts his hand on her shoulder, as he would say, well, whoever happens, I'm rooting for you, kid. I'll give you a little description on the ranger captain. He's like the generic sweet old man neighbor type person, but will beat somebody up if they do anything terrible. As he would tell Izumi that she has a patrol to look for some people who are lost in the forest. As she would ask what are their names, as he would say that their names are Ejiro Kirishima and Mina Ashido. As Izumi would look at them and say, alright, should I use my gigantification or not? And should I use the sirens? As the old man would say, well, if you use your gigantification, you'll probably spot them. It'll probably be a lot harder to spot them due to how dense the forest they went to is. If you use your sirens, they'll probably figure somebody's looking for them. As Izumi would say, alright, I'll head out there once I've changed into my uniform. With the ranger captain saying, alright, we'll see you at the end of your shift. As Izumi would say, yes, sir. As she would head to get changed into her ranger uniform and head out. As her ranger uniform has been specified to her gigantification, so it will remain. So it's quite flexible. It's made out of the same material as a Mount Lady's hero costume. As while she's looking for them, she's currently blaring her sirens, which are saying, Ejiro Kirishima and Mina Ashido, there is a search party looking for you. Be advised to remain still and stay where you are. Help is coming. And it's playing that on loop. As Izumi gets a call on her phone, which she checks the number, as it is you. As she picks it up, as she would say hello into the phone while her sirens are blaring in the background. As you would say, hey Izumi, I see you're still on your patrol. You're out on patrol. For who is it this time? Because last time it was that Katsuki kid. Who is it this time? As she would say, that's two kids named Mina Ashido and Ejiro Kirishima. As you would say, oh, I heard they went missing a while ago. So how was the search going? As Izumi would respond with, that I just started my search. And that she is currently looking for their exact location, as she is currently about, as she looks down, I'd say I'm about, still at the maximum height of 40 feet, so I'm still looking for them. As you would say, ooh, so how long do you think it will take for you to find them? As Izumi would say, I don't know, it could be a couple hours, but I will find them eventually. So what have you been doing for the past while? As you would respond with, oh, I just filled out my application form to UA, and I already drew up designs for my hero costumes. Maybe once you're done with your shift, we could hang out, and then we could discuss what you can see my hero costume design. As Izumi would say, that sounds great, but but as she would stop, as she would see movement, as she would say, "Hold on, I think I see something, I'll call you later," as she would hang up. As she would kneel down and look into the bushes, as she would find Mina, Ashido, and Hijiro Kirishima hiding in there because, but Mina appears to be injured from a animal attack. As they would have turned around and saw this looking at them, as Kirishima and Mina would begin to panic, as Izumi would say, "Hush, calm down. I'm a park ranger here to get you guys back." As Kirishima and Mina would say, "But why are you so tall? And what were those sirens blaring?" As Izumi would respond with that the sirens are a part of her quirk. The sirens and the giant size are a part of her quirk. As they would ask, "Does she have a license to use her quirk?" As she would respond with, "Yes. Due to my specialty in the forest, I have a legal obligation I have a legal license to use my quirk in situations that are necessary." And she would put her hand out. Now remind you, this hand is still giant, as she would say, "Come on, we need to get you back to the station." As Kirishima and Mina would climb into her hand, as Izumi would tell Mina that she needs to keep pressure on that injury, or else it's going to get infected, or she's going to bleed out. As she would begin to walk back to the ranger station, as Kirishima and Mina would ask, "So, what's your name?" As she would say that her name is Izumi. As they would ask, "What's her last name?" As she would say that she doesn't have a last name. In fact, she lives in an orphanage. As Kirishima would say, "That's pretty manly of you, being a ranger out here helping people." As Izumi would say, I actually did this job for a while. I'm actually applying for a UA to become a hero." As Kirishima and Mina would say, "That's so cool. We're also thinking of applying to UA. Hold on, give me a minute." As Miyu would say, "So you're sort of like what? No, not Miyu. Izumi would say, "So you're sort of like my friend, you." As they would say, "So wait, there's another person applying for UA as well?" With Izumi responding, "Yeah. She actually wanting to become a hero for a while, because when I was younger, she saw how unright I was being treated due to how my quirk made me appear. So she told me, and I quote, as she would play a recording from a sirens, as it had youth voicing, that, like a young youth voicing, I'm going to become a hero so that I can help people like you in situations like that." With Kirishima thing, that's pretty manly of a friend for him doing that. As Izumi would say, "Yeah, it is pretty much." As after a couple hours, they would arrive at the ranger station with Izumi lowering Kirishima and Mina down, as Mina would be taken into the station to get her wound dressed. As the ranger captain would walk out and say, "Izumi, you've done a mighty fine job. getting those people out there. Another perfect record. Congratulations. That's you. Been promoted again. You're now captain. As Izumi would respond with, "Thank you very much, but I don't really think I deserve this." As the captain would say, "Nonsense, you do deserve this. And plus, I'm only a year away from retirement anyway." With Izumi saying, "Really? You look so young." As the captain would respond with, "Oh, thank you very much, but I'm much older than you think." With Izumi saying, "Well, if this is what's going to happen, I won't stop you." With the captain thank you and saying, "You have the rest of the day off now, so go and do what teenagers your age do." And she'd say, "Yes, sir," as she would change back into her civilian clothing and head out to the town, where she would meet up. She would call Yui again, as she'd say, "Hey, you, I'm free. Do you want to meet up at the coffee shop later?" As you, who's just exiting her school, would say, "Yeah, I can meet up with you in about I'll say about 15 minutes." As me would say, "Cool." No, not me. You. As Izumi would say, "Cool. I'll meet you there." As Yui and Izumi would hang up, as Izumi would begin to make her way to the coffee shop. With 15 minutes passing and the both of them meeting up at the coffee shop, and them getting a nice cup of coffee. As you would say, "So, I have the design for my hero costume here." So, as she would pass the notes, the costume design to Izumi. Sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up now. As Izumi would be looking over this, as she'd say, "So, what material will this your hero costume be made out of?" As she'd say, "Well, it would be made out of some of the strands of my hair." As Izumi would say, "Oh yeah, that's right, because then the fabric can grow with you when you use your quirk." As you would say, "Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking, but I don't really think that people will find I don't think my quirk would be that useful in urban areas. I think it'd be more useful in like open areas like yours is with you and your ranger job." With Izumi saying, it's not really that useful." She picks up a bit of a biscuit and then puts it in one of the siren mouths as it begin to chew and eat it. As you would say, "I still can't get over how those sirens have teeth and a full digestive system." As Izumi would say, "Neither do I, but that's just how my biology works with my quirk." As Izumi and you would notice a massive explosion as you and Izumi you would notice it as you'd say, hey, we should probably go and check it out. As Izumi would say, yeah, because I'm pretty sure we're finished here anyway. They had already finished their coffee and biscuits. As Izumi would basically leave some money to pay for their stuff. They would then head to where the explosion was. As Izumi would see Bakugo be caught by the sludge villain. As Izumi would say to herself, you have got to be kidding me. I already saved this guy the last time. As you would say, don't worry, you got this, I believe in you. But I don't think the heroes will let you get past. They won't, as Izumi would say, they won't let us pass at the size we currently are at. As she'd look at you with a smug expression, as you would say, oh no, you're not thinking what I think you're doing. As Izumi would say, oh yeah, gigantification and siren blast. As you would say, I think you should just stick with the siren blast. As Izumi would say, yeah, you're probably right. My clothing isn't really made out of the same material as my uniform, so siren blast it is. As Izumi would walk to the front, as she would basically run past the heroes, as they'd say, hey, civilian, stop, you're going to get yourself killed. As she'd be running towards the sludge villain, with the sludge villain saying, seems like somebody else was wanting to die. As when the sludge villain goes to launch his attack, a very high-pitched screeching sound comes from Izumi, where like a sound barrier is produced as it just begins to explode outwards, as the sludge villain's limbs are blown back, with the sludge villain reeling back in pain, as he would then look away to regenerate his limbs. As you would reach into the sludge, no, not you, Izumi would reach into the sludge and begin to pull Bakugo out, as the sludge villain would say, as before the sludge villain could land the final blow, All Might does you ends up pulling Bakugo out, and is about to defeat the sludge villain, when a dark purple misty portal would open up and begin to pull Izumi in. As the sludge villain is blown away by All Might's attack, Izumi is being pulled into this dark portal, as she is then taken away, with you running out to try and stop it, but just as she is to where you was, the portal, no, not you, Izumi was, the portal had already closed, and Izumi was nowhere to be found. And then we cut to Izumi in a chair that cancels her quirks, as the sirens on the side of her head are currently shut by something that she can't open up, as a mysterious voice would say, so, you're finally up. As Izumi would look up and see a man with hands all over his body and two red eyes, as Izumi would say, so what am I supposed to call you? Desert face handyman? as Shigaraki would say, listen here. We know what your quirk is, and we know we can use it. And we know that it has the potential to defeat All Might. As Izumi would say, you can defeat All Might. He's the number one hero. And last time I checked, he can't really be beaten by anyone. As another voice would call out from the monitor, as they would say, oh, he can be, because I am the one who nearly killed him. As Izumi would look over to the monitor and say, and who the hell are you supposed to be? As Shigaraki would say, silence. That's no way to speak to the master. As Izumi would say, master of what? As Shigaraki would say, why, the leader of the League of Villains. What, of course. As Izumi would say, well, it was nice staying here, but I really think I should leave. Because, I have a job, I've got people who care about me to look after. So, yeah, if you would kindly let me out of this, as she puts up the quirk-canceling handcuffs, as she would say, I'll just be on my way and completely forget this encounter happens before I butcher the both of you. As All For One would say, oh, I don't think that would be happening anytime soon. As a hand would, as a portal would open up, as a hand would go through it and grab Izumi by her forehead. As the voice from the monitor would say, that you are under my jurisdiction. If you try to escape or do harm to Shigaraki over there, I will personally make sure to make your life a living hell. As All For One would say, and to just give you a little example of that, he would send an electrical pulse into Izumi's head, which would cause her to scream out in pain. As All For One would say, now, do I make myself clear? As Izumi would say, crystal, with him saying, good. Now, to make sure you won't do this, Shigaraki, apply the device. As he would say, yes, master. As he'd take what appears to be a small piece of metal, and stick it to the side stick it onto Izumi's neck. As Izumi's body would go limp, as she would immediately sit back up in a straight postured state. As All For One would say, as All For One would state, that this device puts you under my control, and you cannot escape, no matter how hard you try. As let me explain what this device does. Basically, this device was created by All For One back in its prime. It essentially takes over a person's consciousness, basically shunting it to the background and putting them under All For One's control. So, All For One can make somebody do something completely against their morals with this device on them. As All For One would say, now we can put our plan into motion. As that is where I'm going to end this part off. I do hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you tomorrow with another post.